Hello, good evening. So tomorrow we are going to make multi-purpose liquid soap. Because of that, we have to soak our soakable ingredient. So as you can see, I've labeled the bowls in which I will soak every ingredient. So we are going to soak SLS, soda ash, caustic soda, STPP, and sodium sulphate, so that tomorrow we can use it to make our multi-purpose liquid soap. In fact, I used this ingredient and it was so good for my customers, and they have demanded for another set. That's why I'm making this multi-purpose liquid soap. So I'm going to measure my ingredients. The first ingredient I will measure is the caustic soda, and with the caustic soda we are using 50 grams of caustic soda. So I'm going to measure 50 grams of caustic soda. So as you can see, I'll on it, and this container doesn't weigh anything. So 50 grams of caustic soda. Just a little of it. So 50 grams of caustic soda. Okay, exactly 50 grams of caustic soda. I'm going to soak it with 500 ml of water. So, and as I said, you pour your caustic soda into the water, but not the other way around. So this is 500 ml of water. Now, there may be particles in the water, so you have to sieve it. You have to sieve your water. Okay, so I'm going to pour. Now this is not much, so I can easily mix it around. So that is caustic soda. I'm going to stir for some time for it to cool down. So I will use this caustic soda tomorrow. So that is, you can see it has mixed. It's just looking like water. So I'm going to put it down for it to cool for tomorrow. The next one I will soak is soda ash. So I will measure soda ash, and I'm using 150 grams of soda ash. I have my book with my list. As a beginner, you need to get your book and your ingredients listed on it so that it will not mix up. So this is soda ash. This is soda. I have my nose mask on. So I'm going to measure the soda ash. There's some small one here. Yes. I had 143, but I can still use it. And I'm going to mix the soda ash with 1 ml of water, 1 liter of water. So as I said, you have to sieve your water. There may be particles in it, so you have to sieve it. Okay, so I'm going to mix the soda ash. As usual, you pour the soda ash inside, not the other way around. Okay, so I'm going to stir. I'm going to stir for it to dissolve. When you are mixing your soda ash, Don't leave it for it to dissolve on its own. Stir. So I'm going to stir. Okay, so I'm going to set it aside. Put it aside. And then the next ingredient I will mix is STPP. And for STPP, you are going to use 150 ml. Sorry, 150 grams. 150 grams. You see, all the containers are labeled. Very, very important. Any container that you put any ingredient, you see, they are all powdered. So they are mixed. It will mix if you don't label them. So I'm going to use 150 of STPP. 150 of it. Okay. 150. Okay. Yes. I'm going to mix the STPP 150 grams with 1 liter of water. 1 liter of water. This is 1 liter. So I'll put, and as usual, please sieve your water. There may be some particles in it that you don't know, and you don't like to see those particles in your finished product. So I'm going to pour it inside and also stir for it to dissolve. If not, your soap will be lumpy. You see lumps in your soap. So you stir for it to dissolve. Now, for the sake of the children or people in your house who don't know what you are doing, you have to cover them and put them at a safer place where, or you tell them the reasons why you have mixed those ingredients. When it cools down or when it dissolves completely, they all look like water. So if you are not careful, you don't put it at the right place, somebody will go and take it and drink, which will be a very big problem for you and the family. Okay, so you put it at a place, or you tell people what it meant and label them. Okay, so it's enough. I'm putting it aside. Then the next ingredient I will mix is SLS. And that one I'm going to use 175 grams. 175. They call it rice. Okay. 175 grams of SLS rice. It looks like green, so they call it rice. Okay. So I'm going to measure. Now let me tie it. Put it inside. Okay, so I'm going to use 175 grams of SLS. 175, 90, 175. So if you don't have a scale, get one. Or when you are going to buy your ingredients, you tell them to measure it for you. Don't forget your nose mask. Don't forget your nose mask. Exactly, 175. Okay, so now I have my 175. I'm going to use 2 liters of water to dissolve the SLS. So 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to dissolve it. This one too, you have to dissolve it for it to mix completely. Okay, so don't leave it for it to dissolve on its own. Try your best and dissolve it. It looks like soap. It's soapy. It is even foamy. But don't worry, continue to dissolve it. Continue to stir. You stir until it dissolves completely before you put it aside, as it will take a longer time for it to dissolve. Okay, so you see, so I'm going to put it aside so that I can dissolve the last ingredient, which is sodium sulphate. You don't dissolve your ingredient completely and allow it to settle, your soap will be lumpy. You will see lumps in your soap, so you have to make sure that you have dissolved your ingredient for it to last 12 hours and above before you can use it to make your soap. If you don't do that, your soap, your liquid soap, the finished product will be lumpy. You will see lumps in your soap, so you have to make sure that you mix all your ingredients. So I'm putting it aside, and the last ingredient I'll be mixing is sodium sulphate. Now sodium sulphate, I'm going to use 350 grams. 350 grams. Okay, so this is sodium sulphate. You see, they are all labeled. If you don't label your ingredient, it will disturb you. They are all like powder. They are like powder. They are all white. So if you don't list them, if you don't label them, you don't know which is which. So labeling your ingredient is very, very important. Very, very important. So I'm going to use 350 grams. 350 grams. And I'm making 350 grams. I'm making 20 liters of liquid, multi-purpose liquid soap. Okay, so let me take small from it. Thank you. Now I'm going to mix the sodium sulphate with 1 liter of water. Don't forget to strain your water. Okay. If you don't mix your ingredients before using them, your soap will be, you will see lumps in your soap. So mix your ingredient, put them aside for 12 hours and above. Let me add 2 to 8. This is long. Okay, so I've finished mixing my ingredients, the soakable ingredients. I've mixed them, so I'm going to set them aside for 12 hours and above. So I will make this liquid soap tomorrow. That is why I've soaked all my ingredients, and I'm going to set them aside for tomorrow. So tomorrow we are going to make liquid, multi-purpose liquid soap. We are going to use some ingredients, but some of the ingredients that we have to soak and put them aside for 12 hours and above are the caustic soda, soda ash, STPP. Yes, there are 5 ingredients that we've mixed. I'm going to put them down for tomorrow. It's going to be there for more than 12 hours for it to settle and mix well, because if you don't mix your ingredients before using them, your soap will be lumpy. You see lumps in your soap and you wouldn't like that. Thank you very much. Please subscribe to my channel, follow me for more tips on soap making. Thank you.